I guess we'll start again. Good morning. My name is Mulligan, and I'm 17 years old. I'm a cyber defense analyst at Mulligan Technologies since January 2013. I'm going to be finishing high school next month, and my college associate's degree in December. And after that, I'm planning to get my Bachelor's of Science in Computer Science with a minor in cybersecurity at the University of Maryland. I have several certifications, as previously stated. I have the CompTIA Security Plus, Linux Plus CEH, the Linux Professional Institute, LPIC 1, SUSE, CLA, and I'm studying for my CISSP. And also, since we're on the second day of the conference, my presentation will be defense focused. So my presentation today is going to focus on the Raspberry Pi and what it can do. For those of you who don't know, the Pi is a cheap, powerful computer. It runs several versions of Linux, and it's been available since February 2012. The cost is usually around $35 on Amazon, or you can get it locally at several vendors. It's a 700 MHz ARM processor with 512 MB RAM, and the storage is via an SD card. Now let's watch a short video that explains the Pi for those of you who don't know.
This is a Raspberry Pi. It's a credit card-sized computer that costs around £25, designed to teach young people to program, and is capable of doing all kinds of wonderful things. Back in the 80s, kids had to learn how to code computers to use them, and as a result, these kids grew up with an inbuilt understanding of how computers work. Now, we need more programmers than ever before. So to deal with this problem, some clever people came up with the Raspberry Pi to reignite the spark. It runs Linux, a free operating system from an SD card, just like the one in your digital camera, and it's powered by a USB phone charger. You just plug in a mouse and a keyboard, connect it to a TV or monitor, and you're ready to go. In schools, not only is Raspberry Pi a great way to learn programming skills as part of ICT, there are also dozens of cross-curricular applications like science and music. And all over the world, people are experimenting with Raspberry Pis and attending Raspberry Jam events, where people of all ages are learning what can be done with a Raspberry Pi. Since the first Raspberry Pi was shipped, we've seen examples of people using the Pi in a variety of amazing and interesting projects, taking advantage of its size, portability, cost, programmability, and connectability. So whether you want to learn to make games, build robots, or even teach about the parachute, with Raspberry Pi, the sky's the limit.
So that was a nice short introductory video to the Pi. This is the Pi I currently use. It's the Model B Plus, and some of the significant differences: it has 2 USB ports versus 4, and they've simplified the audio jack. I purchased my Pi on Amazon, but like I said before, you can buy it at local places like Gigaparts, Radio Shack. It's also got an extended GPIO pin from 26 to 40, so you can have more applications. It runs Raspbian. There's several other operating systems that are available, like I mentioned before. Here are 3 ways that the Pi can make your network more secure: cyber defense applications, secure VPN technology, and network monitoring. And I'll go into more detail. Part of my job really is to travel to the Huntsville area schools and to speak to students about cybersecurity careers and how they can get started. In addition to what they learn at school, I encourage them to experiment with cyber defense tools and various operating systems. Now let's discuss some of the applications and programs used to secure a network. One of the best ways to ensure a secure communication is through a VPN. Hamachi, for those of you who don't know, is one of the most widely used, and it used to be free, but now they moved to a trial version, and I think a paid subscription, but it's very easy to set up and very easy to use, and you can turn it on and off if you're not using it. It's very, very easy. Of course, first line of defense and securing your network is good programs. These are a few open source tools that run on Linux that I'll go into more detail, and they're also very good candidates for the Pi, and I try to show these to children. So first of all, ArcWatch helps keep track of hosts on the network through IP address and MAC address pairings. It's very useful for a man-in-the-middle attack. So if you want to see if somebody's changed the IP address of the gateway or another IP address, it'll let you know when you should be like, hey, something's up. It's also very useful for just network diagnostics. You can see if a new host comes on the network, you know, DHCP change, somebody got a new address, that sort of thing. You can download it online. It's also available through the apt-get package manager or whichever package manager you use for your distribution. So this is an example of email generated by ArcWatch. It shows that the MAC address right here, 192.168.1.45, has changed. You can see the old MAC address and the new MAC address, so it went from 88 to 89 right there. It'll also give you some useful stuff, such as the previous time that it was detected and then the new timestamp, so it'll let you know, hey, this just changed and it's been active for 16 minutes. So the second tool I'm going to mention is Nmap. So it's a very, very versatile network map utility used to identify hosts on the network, especially if you have unknown hosts. So say you're running a network and all of a sudden you see a new person through ArcWatch or just through your DHCP logs or something. You can now investigate that host further and say, oh, I see they're running Windows 7 per se, and they have Telnet open and they have an FTP server and a web server running. So it gives you very useful information that you can then drill down further and be like, something's wrong. So like I said, the simple Nmap scan, it just shows the common TCP ports. You can specify higher range if they're running port like 50,000 or something really high, you know, something's up. But it's a very, very useful tool. There's a GUI version called ZenMap available for Windows and I believe Linux that'll be very cool to show. So this is sample output from the Nmap scan. I got it online. It shows 2 Linux hosts. One is a router 3.com server, and the other one is just a Linux box. So you can see at the very top, it's running SSH for the first one, and then it lists the MAC address, and it tells you it's running Linux. And then the second one that you see is a 3.com router, and it's running Telnet and PPTP, it assumes, and it says that it's the router, and both hosts are up. OSSEC is a host-based intrusion detection system. It's an excellent candidate for the Pi. I actually run this on my personal server. It's very useful. It gives you log analysis, file integrity checking, rootkit detection, and active response. So say you run a web server either in the cloud or a personal one at your house. This will say if I get a bunch of 500 errors or 404 errors, I can then go and block this host, and I'll show that on the next page. So this is off of my application. For those of you who don't know, I wrote a anti-cyberbullying application called Words Hurt a few years ago. And essentially I run this on my server, and it basically just told me this IP address 46 and then it's blanked out and it tells you the last 2.12. And it's just telling me that they tried to search for administrative pages such as MySQL admin, PHP admin, DBA admin. And the very useful thing about this is it'll then take an automated and active response and it'll say, I'm going to block them for an amount of time. You can also disable that, but I just thought that was a very nice feature. If you're coming under attack, it'll take the recommended action that it thinks. Whether that's just blocking the host altogether or just blocking them to port 80. So the next tool that I'll mention is called Bro, also the Bro Network Security Monitor. It's a very powerful network analysis framework and IDS. The very interesting thing about this program is it has a scripting language that's similar to Python, so it's very easy to use and it's very powerful because it's a scripting language. It also features anomaly-based detection and a few other detection methods. It'll detect SQL injection attacks and FTP brute force attacks. So it's very, very useful. A few other security network tools such as Bro are Snort, and I think the other one is Seritica. And those are both also intrusion detection systems. So this is a sample log file from the internet again. It shows the Bro logs, and they're stored in ASCII format. And BroCut is actually a shell script that prints them out by hand, and I don't know if you guys can see this, but essentially it just says that the source address 172.29.0.116 is trying to reach out to a remote host, and that one's random. And essentially it says, I think this is in malware. It's in my malware registry, and I think the detection rate is 68%. So essentially it's just looking for anomaly-based or rule-based detection to identify things that are out of the norm or maybe malicious for further investigation. The next tool I'll talk about is IP tables. It's a text-based firewall. It's very, very powerful. It comes by default on very many operating systems that run Linux. It can take some time to learn, but it's very, very powerful, like I said. And I have some examples on the next slide, but it's often used in conjunction with a IDS or IPS for additional host security. Even though the PI only has a single interface, IP tables can be used to learn firewall by using the PI as a gateway. Firewall rules are chained together, and there's also a beginner guide right here for those of you who are interested. There's several guides on the internet besides that one. So IP tables rules can be created on the fly at the command prompt, but they will not persist across the reboot once you save them. So I'll go into more detail on all of these. So say you want to block an attack for IP 1.2.3.4, and you got this information via either a web server that they were trying to root force or SSH or any other means. So it's very, very simple. All you do is you run IP tables and then -A input. So any kind of inbound traffic, you specify the -S option, which is the source. So the source IP of 1.2.3.4, and then you just tell it you want to drop all traffic. So this will drop it'll drop that IP address for any traffic coming inbound on this machine. Then you can get more specific. Say you only want to block port 80 of that, of anybody. So you run IP tables -A input, so anything out inbounds, and then the port is TCP port 80, and then you want to drop all traffic. So that'll block anybody trying to get to port 80 from the outside. If you want to block the attacker IP 1.2.3.4 port 80 specifically, and that IP specifically, you run IP tables -A input, and then you tell it it's a TCP port. You want to block the address 1.2.3.4 port 80, and then drop that connection. And then this is kind of interesting. If you want to block a specific domain or IP address, you can first run dig. All dig does is just a DNS lookup. So it's translating the domain into an IP address. And then once you have that IP address, you can use IP tables specifically to say, I want to block anything on that subnet that that IP address is on. So for Facebook, you would run IP tables -A output, so anything outbound on TCP, and then the destination address of, for Facebook, for example, is 69.171.224.0, the subnet of 19, and then the drop all connection. And that was just a sample that I got off the internet. All of these tools and more can be found online, and the PI gives you a very affordable way to try these out. So whether you don't want to have a dedicated machine to do this, or you just want to, try these and say you break it, it only costs $35. So it's very easy and very cheap to try these tools out and learn. It's a very good learning tool. So hopefully these tools will help make your network more secure. Do we have any questions? Yes?
How many concurrent applications can the Pi keep up with on a small network?
I've actually been really surprised. It actually does really well with the number of concurrent connections. I don't have any specifics on that, but I've been able to run most of these tools with a very low load average. So I would say it keeps up fairly well.
Can you use a USB dongle for Ethernet so you have an internal, internal and external interface?
I believe so. It depends whether the Raspbian has that driver built in, but for most, I believe it does.
I have one that you can hook up, so yeah, even the USB, it works okay.
There's your heads right there.
Yeah. So also with that, you could run something like Snort, where you have two interfaces, one inbound, one outbound. Would be another use for that. Yes.
What's your preferred distribution on Raspberry Pi?
I just use the default Raspbian. That works really well. I think you can also get CentOS maybe, I know you can get Fedora though. Yes?
Would you say a lot of the students your age are interested in the Linux? Are they interested in seeing this sort of thing? How would you gauge the popularity or acceptance of something like that?
Well, I'm trying to change that.
I get
I'm trying to
that.
get out in the schools. I hope it's gaining traction. I specifically haven't done any research, but I'm trying to get out in the community and.
Yeah, I was curious, just from
get
your
involved.
engagement in terms of, are students taking this on? Are they interested? Because it's real easy to flip open their iPad and not
Yeah.
think about it.
I think they should. Whether
agree.
they are or not is a different story. But I think once they actually use it for a little bit, it'll be very, very powerful, and it'll gain an interest in the community.
Yeah, I'm in a position where we're hiring students, we're bringing them on, and there's an abundance of kids that feel they know computers because they've used them, but they don't really know what's going under the hood, and we're really starting over with them when they get into our courses. So it's refreshing to see you speak to this detail. Thank you. I may have to hire you in a couple of years.
Yes?
Do you have a little lab set up for testing your NMath and
I do not. I usually just run it on my own network. But a lab could be very easily set up.
I have a touchscreen right here.
Curious on the learning. How supportive would you say the school is in terms of helping you with this kind of information, with this kind of exposure?
I would say usually they're very helpful. I usually join with the ISSA to go to the schools, but usually they're very supportive. They've taken an
The
interest.
curriculum has been good for you? It's been encouraging?
what about downloading all these open source tools? Are you kind of afraid you're going to corrupt your network?
Not really.
Binary? Yeah.
What?
Get the wrong binaries down or something?
For the distribution, I use Raspbian. If you are speculative, you could always download the source and do it yourself, but I haven't ever seen any malicious software through the package managers of these distributions. That's not to say there couldn't be, but if you're very speculative, you could always just download them yourselves and compile them. You just need the GNU CC compiler, and then just download them yourself and compile them and install them. Is that it? Okay. I guess I finished early, which is probably good for some of you who want to get lunch, although I don't know if it's ready yet. So I always seem to rush these presentations.